All right.
We're live.
Let's
I
go live. Work.
literally just hit go live. So perfect timing.
Perfect. Glad to hear it.
Yes. Right.
Well, let's welcome to the show, everybody. Again, it's Charles and Cammie. We're just going to have a chat about everything that's going on um, in the lives of the world out there today. But we really want to talk on two subjects today that we mentioned as of yesterday. My topic that I really picked out for myself to talk about more so today was resentment. And Cammie was going to talk about go ahead,
Expectations. And I want to talk about expectations first because expectations lead to resentment. So it's the perfect segue for us. Um, and I know that, so our talk is called Love Is. And Charles and I believe that love should be unconditional. And if you think about expectations that you're either telling someone you want or that you are expecting someone to do for you, but you're not uh, communicating that to them, um, pretty much expectations are conditions. If you really think about it, that you are making somebody or asking somebody to do some things possibly or not. You're not telling them at all, but you're putting these expectations on whether or not that you're going to love them or whether or not that you're going to like them for that day or whether or not you're going to get mad at them. But a lot of times we have expectations, which are basically conditions. They're also limits. And when somebody doesn't do something that you expected of them, you get disappointed or let down or upset. And all of those lead to what, baby?
all those things lead to resentment. So
Yes.
that's the thing is like it's really bad when your expectations are too high, and your expectations are way up here, and you go into this event and someone does something and it feels unfair to you. That unfairness will build resentment, and that resentment just kind of goes on and on and on. And it's a combination of a lot of other things in that resentment. That resentment is a feeling of disgust. It's a feeling of frustration, anger. That resentment comes from so many different variables when you actually think about it. You feel disappointed if someone treats you in an unexpected manner, and you take it out on them in a long-term basis out of the anger that you build for that person's. So that resentment just kind of grows and grows and grows. I'm doing too many things here right now. I gotta get my cameras together.
Deep breath.
I gotta get my cameras together because I got these two things. I'm trying to read all the comments. But that resentment comes from that expectations, or that resentment might come from something that somebody expects of you or wants you to do, and you find yourself feeling it's unfair. And as long as you think of it as unfair treatment, you're going to react in a negative way and harbor those feelings.
And you
So
say,
go ahead, Nate.
whoops, sorry. I thought you were done.
Go
When you
ahead.
say unfair,
Yeah.
you also say unmet. Things aren't, things don't happen like you wanted. And then you get mad. And then you get resentful. And you know what? One of the leading causes of relationships to end is resentfulness. I started to say that wrong. Resentfulness, because you're mad and you just let it build up and boil over, and you get to the point where you're not speaking anymore. You're not talking. You're not loving to that person. You're definitely probably not having sex with that person. You're not doing anything. So you've built up this resentment and this anger, and then it slowly crumbles because you're not talking. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about, not today, but I know that I've mentioned it before, is in maybe our next talk or the talk after that is learning how to fight. And fight doesn't mean screaming and yelling at each other.
So again, just going back to where we're going to talk about, start at, everybody has expectations. And when you meet someone for the first time, you want them to meet up to your expectations. You hope that they're going to be this perfect person for you. You hope that they're going to be this, that, and the other. And whenever they start to fall short of those expectations is when you start to feel a certain type of way. Those feelings that you start to build will grow as time goes on and on and on. And sometimes even some things come from past relationships to help you be unhappy about the expectations. You may have some thoughts from the past or some, I don't know, some residue. I call it residue right now.
Yeah.
That's coming from a past relationship, and you've had set these higher expectations for yourself, and you want this, and you're not going to tolerate this. But when this person starts to do that, you get angry with them, you get mad with them,
And they don't know.
They've not met your expectations.
Yeah. And they don't know.
Just going into a situation with no expectations is the best way to go, and then just find out what that person's like and what that person's about.
Well, and you mentioned expectations, and some of it comes from the past. Those things that build up, they come from the past and they come from the future. We're thinking about what happened to us in the past, and we're thinking about what we want in the future. And some of those things are colliding and not matching with our present, and that makes us upset, or angry, or whatever that feeling is. And we're not saying that you can't have, expectations of someone. A good expectation would be a boundary of how you want to be treated, something that's healthy in a healthy relationship. But an expectation that if he doesn't take the trash out today because he's the man and that's his job is ridiculous. So those are things that we put expectations on gender. We put expectation on husband or wife or significant other or whatever, because of they're the man, they do all the yard work. The woman does all the house cleaning and all the cooking and all that. Those are different expectations that people have that aren't real.
And that makes it harder when you put expectations on someone else. And the thing that Cami and I have touched on a little bit here is the whole premise of our whole speech is about love is. And when we got into our situation, our relationship, our expectations were different. I actually didn't lower my standards. I raised my standards and what I wanted, but my expectation was I don't want her to do anything that I'm not willing to do for her. So I give her everything I can. If she asks me for something, I do everything in my power to make it happen, and I want her to do the same thing. So my expectation is more reciprocation of the love and attention that I give to her. And I know that she does that. And that's when I go down that checklist and the love is to make sure that I'm more passionate, I'm more patient, I'm more kind, I'm more courteous to her than I ever could be to anybody else. But I had to start all that stuff with myself. If my expectations of her are going to be all that, I've got to do the same thing. I've got to give her the same thing that she's expecting of me. And I know that sometimes I'm lazy and I'm not patient. I know that there's times that I don't take out the trash or I won't cook the meal. But at the same time, her expectations are not that. But I will take her out to eat. I'll take her out to do all those things. And so we have a good
balance. We have a good balance.
Good balance of how we look at each other, what we want from each other. And our expectations are not to have her do for me or me do for her. It's just, we're just doing it together. So people who put those expectations on there, or demands, if you want to look at it another way.
Yes.
You want to command somebody to do something else. You want to take control of that situation and manipulate them and force them to do something that they don't want to do. You're going to come out with a bad result, because that resentment is going to build. I'm going to give a little bit of an example. I'm trying to figure out if I can give a little bit of example of expectations and resentment. Let's see. I can't really think of anything that's happened to us recently, but okay. I got a situation, and it's not necessarily ours, but it's kind of happening with a lot of people. There's a particular situation that comes to my head, and I know that there's a lot of things that I have put on my to-do list. As a man, we want to get certain things done, and I wanted to clean my house and clean my bedroom and do all these things. I wanted to fix the hot tub. I wanted to fix the car. I wanted to do all these different things. And if you've told someone that you're going to do these things and you put them on your to-do list, and then you haven't done them 6 months later, that is going to hurt that other person's feelings. You told them you're going to get something done for them and you haven't done it. You're showing them by your actions that you don't care enough to complete that task that they may have wanted you to do. And that's going to build that disappointment. That's going to build some disgust inside of them, where they're disgusted with the fact that this room hadn't been cleaned, or this thing hasn't been fixed, or the floor is still falling apart, or the door is off its hinges, car hadn't been changed, the oil hadn't been changed, it's still on a flat tire, or all these different things. I hadn't taken out the trash in a month. The expectations that this person has over here for them are here because you put them there. My camera's off. You put them there. And now they're starting to get that resentment. They're getting that anger and that frustration, and that's building inside of them. And every time you disappoint them again, they get more resentful. more angry, more mad. And that's when relationships start to crumble and you're walking around the house not speaking to each other. That's when things get really bad. When I know for a fact I can go do the laundry anytime I want to. Kimmy decides to do it for me. I
Yeah.
am so appreciative of that. But when she's done with that, I want to help her put that stuff up because I want to make sure she knows I appreciate it. So
And I don't want to put it all up.
I know it's not all done yet, but we hadn't gotten to it. So we have a list of things to do still. But
But here's
when it comes to expectations or resentment, you've got to think about it in a different mindset. Is it a perception that that person is treating you fair or unfairly? And when you think about it in the long term, if they tell you they're going to do something to you and they don't, or do something for you, and they don't do it, and they constantly don't do it, you're going to feel like you're being treated unfairly and you're being shorted.
And on the other side of that, if say I'm going to do this and then I don't get to it, and it's something that affects you, I know that you are going to feel a certain type of way. So now we have both people, one person, upset because they didn't do what they said, and another person upset because they know they didn't do what they said, and they know this other person might be mad at them now. And so it all blends together. And so you've got two people that are upset, one because they didn't do it, and the other because they know they didn't. And now this person, they feel that their significant other is mad at them. And then so you've got resentment that builds up on both sides, that, oh, I shouldn't have said this because now this person's mad at me, or I shouldn't have done this, or whatever the case may be. So instead of communicating, talking about it, not yelling, but talking about it and saying, man, I know that I said I was going to do this and I didn't get to it. And I feel bad. I feel bad towards you, but I feel bad towards myself because here again, this is something maybe I didn't do and said I was going to do, or whatever the case may be. The more that you are honest, the more that you are vulnerable, the more that you are genuine and you speak truth and you don't have to hide behind anything, the better the things are. You both are able to communicate, and that resentment slowly starts to dissolve because you're being honest, and they know you're being honest. They know what you're saying is true, rather than, oh, I'm not going to have a conversation about this, or, oh God, I'm going to go home and he or she is going to say, well, you didn't do this again, or you didn't do this again. That's not going to make anything better, first of all, by saying that. So it's about saying, I know that you've been busy. I know we haven't been able to do this, and having a conversation of it's okay, because in the big picture of things, tomorrow you can get it done that it didn't do today, or that you didn't do last week. The big picture is that some of this little stuff doesn't even matter. And now you're mad and pissed off and about to ruin a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, or whatever because of something stupid. Nothing. So, think about it that way. And now maybe you haven't spoke to your person for a day or a week, which I can't even imagine, an hour, and you're just letting it continue to build and build and build. And now you've even forgotten really the core part of why you're upset.
And also, to go along with that, before we go on any further, I want to say hi to everybody that just came on there. I just saw
Yes,
Rhonda coming in, Rachel, Judith. Hey, happy birthday, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday, Mom, yesterday.
Rebecca,
hi, Rachel.
Stacy, and Carrie. I want to address this in a different way now, because we've kind of hit that nail pretty hard right there about that in the relationship and how that expectations and resentment goes on. But the same thing is with friends. You can have a situation with a friend of yours, and you've told them something about you, and they've heard you, but they still act a certain way that's disrespectful to you. They've taken your information and they've spread it out to somebody else, and they've told someone else your secrets. They hurt you, and those emotions are really hard and deep inside of you. You feel that guilt, you feel that anger toward them, and you've told them something that was personal to you, and they've hurt you. They've betrayed you. So now you have these emotions building up inside of you. You're getting something that you didn't think was fair. You're being treated unfairly because that person has betrayed you, because that person has done something to hurt or harm you in some kind of emotional fashion. That feeling, that perception of unfairness is where you have to realize, I need to identify what this feeling is and why I'm feeling that way. Why am I so emotional about what this person has done to me? And normally when it comes down to that, your expectations that you had for that person, they didn't follow through with. Your expectations were they're going to keep that information safe and secure for you, and they didn't do that. And when you actually do that, there's a simple technique that we use, that I've used plenty of times, to help people get over that, to help people dissolve away that resentment, that anger, that frustration that you may have for someone else. And I think of it in this way. To do this, I got to kind of tell you a little bit about how you deal with that frustration first. So here's a prime example that I had earlier today. When you feel bad about something that happened to you, someone's treated you unfairly or some kind of way, there's that bad feeling that you always have that comes up inside of you, and it grows and it builds. And after a while, you're going to do something to distract yourself from it. You might watch TV. You might go eat a snack or eat something good. And then that feeling goes away while you're doing that distraction. Whatever it is you're doing to distract you from that thought process, that bad feeling, that emotion, it works. And so the next time you get that bad feeling again, you go eat again. And you eat again. And that feeling, every time it comes up again, you feel bad, you eat. You feel worse, you eat more. Then you start to gain weight and you feel more. That distraction now is not helping you anymore. It's frustrating you. So that distraction of eating is not helping. Now you're getting more and more frustrated because now the feeling is not going away as easily. And while you're eating, you're still feeling that feeling. And now you do something else to distract yourself. You're going in this spiral. Now your secondary response to that is you're drinking now. You're going to drink a little bit more. I'm going to have a glass of wine tonight. It's going to help you forget about that.
Now I'm fat.
I'm going to have some wine and eat some popcorn. Now I'm distracting myself, and it's more effective because now I've added it and I've doubled it, and I keep doing that cycle. Mm-hmm. Eat, drink, distraction. But I get more and more frustrated because I haven't really solved the problem. Why am I feeling bad? You keep doing that, and before you know it, you get depressed. And that depression sets in where all you want to do now is I'm tired of eating. I've gained weight. I don't feel good. I'm not happy. I'm lonely. I'm spending my time here in front of the TV, eating and drinking. Now all I want to do is lay in the bed and sleep. And after you do that for too long, you get depressed. And then you go into a shutdown mode. And that's that spiral of negativity that happens to people. And the way to solve that for most people is you think about it. Does eating actually stop you from feeling bad? No. Does eating more stop you from feeling bad? Does drinking stop you from feeling bad? None of these things. So if you felt this type of feeling about a relationship or a friendship, is eating going to be the satisfactory response to fix it? The truth about it is, the matter is no. So the solution to most of our problems is to find out what the right response is. When you have a negative feeling, and I'll tell you this, my definition of feelings and emotions, there are actually psychological pressures to invoke actions. When you feel this feeling or you feel this emotion, it is something that's motivating you to act. And you're going to have to act on that feeling of unfairness. You've been treated unfair. If your boss has done something to you at work and it's unfair and you're not happy with it, you want to say something about it, but you can't because that's your boss. You have to find the satisfactory response, the right thing to do. So your emotions are actually designed to help you provide, they're actually designed to provide you with information that you need to know, information that will help you go in the right direction to motivate you to fix the problem. So again, if you're angry with somebody and you feel unfairness and your boss or somebody, your friend has treated you unfairly, what does that tell you? It tells you that you have a need or want or desire that needs to be fulfilled. So we got all these people on here right now. Is there somebody on here that has a need or a want or desire that they haven't had fulfilled lately? If so, just put it in your message there. I'll tell you about some of the basic needs. If someone feels lonely, if they feel that they've been left out of the conversation, that person and that couple who is not getting the attention that they need will have a negative feeling in response to that. That negative feeling is going to build up and it's going to cause more and more frustration in them, more and more anger, more and more fear of something wrong with their relationship. It's tunneling down that spiral. And eventually that fear builds. Fear's a big disappointment and not having that conversation and that basically that TLC, that quality time with that person they really want to spend their time with, builds resentment and anger toward the other person. And eventually those emotions are going to boil out and boil over. And that's when the arguments and the fights start. And that's what we talked about last time about how to fight fairly. We're going to talk about that more later. But some of that can come from the baggage from the past, and some of that can come from the expectations that you had that are way up here that are not being met. If you expect to have a conversation every day, every night with your loved one for about an hour or 2 hours, you don't get that, you're going to get frustrated and you're in that spiral. Whereas all you have to do is find out why that particular person couldn't talk to you that day. If you find out if it's fair, they were busy at work, and you can justify it, it's easy to release it. If you find out it was that they were doing something with someone else when they should have been doing something with you, you're going to see that it's unfair. And it's going to give you more anger and more resentment. And so that's kind of how that spiral builds and builds and builds.
Well, and I want to interject real fast. And it also, you have to, a lot of times the expectations, and you kind of said this earlier, the expectations that we have for other people, we're not putting on ourselves. So if say the scenarios that you just gave, you not talking to them, or because I don't know what you just said, whether they're at work or whether they're out with their friends or whatever, but you put yourself in that same scenario, and you're not going to be mad at yourself for doing that. So why would you be mad at them for doing that? So you have to put yourself in the same shoes. It's not two separate things. It is one thing. And a lot of times we're not putting ourselves in that same situation, but we expect something bigger and more from someone else that we would not expect from ourselves. And then we, again, go back to the whole resentment, anger, limit, conditions, whatever word you want to use there. Stop putting conditions on people.
Mm-hmm. It's basically, you have to definitely look from it from a different perspective. So we're always looking at how someone has harmed us, or how someone has hurt me, how they've got into my feelings, and how they've harmed me in some way, shape, or fashion. Whereas they may have a justified reason. And if we step outside of ourselves for a moment, see it from their point of view, or see it from a third person's point of view, or just say it out loud to yourself. Well, you did this, and you did this, and you did that, and you made me feel this way, you made me feel that way, and you hurt me when you did this, you hurt me when you did that. It's all on you to understand why. A lot of times that baggage from our past makes us more vulnerable to something that is not that serious.
Yes.
So that baggage from our past comes back up into our mindset because we're still thinking about it. We still feel it. We haven't really dissolved it all away.
You haven't dissolved the
Does
pain.
that thing to you. Someone else says that thing, or they ignore you that night. Mindfully, they didn't respond to that text message in a timely manner. Then you get mad because that other person did it to you all the time. And now you're in your feelings. And so that's when we have to find and identify the right responses to help get over that. And really, when we think about those emotions that come up inside of us, it's really just a question. Those emotions are just really a question about what it is you need to have fulfilled, or what it is you feel that wasn't fulfilled, that made you feel that this person treated you unfairly. So that means you have some need, some want, or some desire that needed to be fulfilled. And so all you have to do is start asking simple questions in a nice, pleasant tone.
And not coming at the person, not reacting to whatever that feeling is that you're having, and actually maybe sitting on it for an hour or two before, like if they come home, and rather than aggressively attacking, where have you been, or whatever it is, first listen to see what's going on before you aggressively attack this person who has probably a legitimate reason, but now because of how you've attacked them or questioned them in words that are not very positive, and they feel attacked, then you're not going to get the answers that you're looking for. Now you've got two people that are pissed, and that's not going to fly. So take a step back when you're angry or when you're upset and you haven't talked to your person yet, and evaluate the situation. Okay, what do I think really happened? Not the crazy person in your head thinks that what happened. but the legitimate what happened. And then as they come home or call or whatever the case may be, you can have a controlled response conversation, not a reaction, yelling, where have you been? What the hell are you doing? Whatever those words are. And our words mean a lot. It's definitely how we say something and how we ask something is how someone will come back in answering us in a positive, respectful way, or a I'm mad at you, I don't ever want to talk to you, whatever way.
That is something that I've learned, that words are very powerful. There's things that you want to spew from your mouth that you know you can't take back. Even though you say it, you might be able to say, I'm sorry for it, but that person's not going to forget it. That person's not going to forget it for a while. It's going to take some time for them to get over that and think that you really didn't think that, you really didn't mean that you're just saying it. Because they think when you say it, then you truly mean it. Unless, of course, there's some medications or some alcohol or the things involved, they may be able to forgive it faster. But that's, again, another area where you don't want to keep records of wrong.
Mm-mm.
You don't want to keep score in those arguments.
Nope.
You don't want to bring up the past. You don't want to judge. You don't want to be jealous and insecure. You don't want to be all those things to your partner, to your friends, to your family, and even to yourself. You want to have an open mind where you can talk and communicate with trust, with honesty. Because if you come at someone with a nice, even tone, you're going to get a nice, calm answer. And you're going to get an answer that's true and honest. If you come attacking at them, you're going to get the bull by the horns. You're going to get a fight for yourself. And most people are going to fight, freeze, or flee. And if you are attacking somebody, you don't want any of those three. Because what you really wanted was to have your answer to that question. But if you attack, you're going to get them in another mindset. So my solution to that, and what I've always done from all my sales training, marketing training class, and my management class and master's degree, and all that stuff that I've done with customer service all my life, is I begin to probe quietly, silently, softer voice, lower my voice tone. I want to have a conversation. I want to know what's going on. I want to know a little bit about what happened. I don't need to know all the details. I just need something to help me understand. Because I'm right now, I'm kind of confused. Can you help me? And if you're in that mindset of, I want help to get this problem solved, they're going to want to help you. But if you come at them like, I need you to tell me why and why right now, it may not happen like that. That little kid, where we learned all the time that ask why, never got an answer to that question. So be cautious with the wording that you use, because your expectations of what you're going to do and what you're going to get from that conversation are not going to be the ones that you want. So going back to our topic that we had here, was there some questions? Anybody had any comments? I didn't get a chance to look back in there.
We don't have any questions or anything so far, just a bunch of highs. And so I'm very happy that everybody is on, and hopefully you're able to take something away from this, because it fits everything, whether it be small or even large. It's giant, that you're having a problem or you're having something with your relationship that whether it be friend or significant other, whatever it may be. So whenever you're finding something like that, realize kind of what we just said, just talking. And if your person comes at you yelling and you want to diffuse that without getting mad at them, baby, what do you do?
I whisper. I lower my voice.
So it's hard to yell at someone that's whispering or lowered their voice at you. So that's a very awesome tactic.
It's funny that when somebody is elevated and escalated, if you raise your voice, they got to raise their voice higher to get over you. And it's a constant battle for who can be the louder or who can be the one that gets the last word in. And if I stop talking and start whispering, they're going to get mad because I stopped talking. But if I continue to talk at that whisper, they're knowing I'm engaging in them. And they don't see a reason why they should be yelling at me anymore. It's like yelling at a kid or a baby that's not really angry, that's not crying. You don't yell at somebody who's whispering. They'll calm down. Now, a good point too is, if you're that person that goes from 0 to 100, if you're that person that goes off the fuse really fast, take some time. Write down what it is you're mad about before you go and talk to them.
Yeah.
Go and talk to a friend about it before you talk to them. and let them help de-escalate you, because you're not going to get the answers you want and you're not going to get the reaction you want if you're always angry and have that conversation. I've learned that in a lot of different conversations I've had through electronic and digital means. If I want to write an email to someone or a text message to someone, I'm in a bad mindset, I will write it. I will go listen to some nice, calm music. I will calm myself back down. Then I go back and reread it. Then I would wait a little bit longer, reread it again. Then I consider whether I'm going to send it. So you take the time to calm yourself down with either music or a conversation with a friend or something that helps you, that is a satisfactory response. So I know for me,
Positive
satisfactory response. Stay away from the too minis. Too much food, too much drink, too much sleep, too much sex, too much any of those things that could be negative. Unless it's makeup stuff. If you're going to make up that way, that's okay. But what I've always done was go work out. Go for a walk. Go for a drive in your car where you can listen to some calm, mellow music. Get away from the situation for a while so you can think clearly. But don't let that little person in your head, that little devil in there on that shoulder, get in your ear and turn you more and more up and get you churning, get your blood boiling, because it's hard to come back down once you get that adrenaline and that blood boiling. And I always think about that because there's some primary feelings that will happen and you'll go through all the time. And those primary feelings would be like boredom and anger and guilt, sadness, the loneliness. The guilt, the sadness, and the loneliness builds up to be that disappointment. But if you feel inadequate, you feel stress, that'll also cause a lot of issues in your relationships with your friends and your family. So you can always dissolve away all these primary feelings along with fear by just going through this 3-2-1 technique of identifying what it is, name the fear, find out what its source is. Then if you find out what its source is, once you find out what its source is, check to see if you feel that you were treated fair or unfairly in that situation. Were you done wrong? Was someone broke your trust? Or did you just misinterpret the situation? Because a lot of times things can be seen from a different point of view. And coming from a different point of view, they may not have been trying to hurt your feelings. They may not have been trying to do something disloyal to you or break your trust. And it just happened to do you wrong.
Work out that way, right?
It just happened to work out that way because someone else overheard a conversation that they had in confidence. And now you feel hurt because that information got out. So always check those 3 things. Identify what the feeling is, find out where the source of that feeling comes from, find out if it's fair, just, or unjust. If it's fair, take your consequences.
So I'm going to read some comments. So Rachel said that she said, great advice, guys. I like to journal my thoughts, which is awesome. And sometimes writing some stuff down before we have a conversation is great. And then Rhonda, she says, I agree. I'm not confrontational type, but my ex would yell and I would always flee to get control of myself. That I did as well. I would flee if I felt anything that I couldn't handle. I wouldn't leave the house, but I'd go the furthest away from wherever I was and go to the closet. And that's not always the best thing, especially if the person that you're fleeing doesn't understand that it's a trigger from the past. Just like what Charles talked about earlier, some of our expectations are from the past, or some of the things that we do are from the past. So we have to have a conversation, just like I had a conversation with him after he said, baby, why do you keep doing that? And it actually was a realization to me that I didn't know that it was hurtful or harming, but we were able to talk about it. And I was able to talk about why I did it. And now I don't feel the need to flee anymore. And obviously all of that was from the past anyway. But had we not talked about it, I'd still be fleeing and he probably wouldn't be here.
And that was our conversation that we literally had, because I noticed whenever she felt like she was getting into that emotional state and she was going to cry, she didn't want to cry in front of me. She didn't want to cry in front of me. So she'd run away. Whatever the reason was, she'd run away. And I'm like, what just happened? What just happened here to make her want to get away from me? And, I'm not that attack person. I got to keep talking and keep going and find out what the source is. I give her time. I let her do what she needed to do. When she came back, she was settled in. We talk about it. But what it turned out to be was that there was a certain need that she needed to have fulfilled.
Yes.
She needed to have something fulfilled at that particular time that came from her past situations. She needed to get something out and off of her chest, but she was afraid to speak about it. She's afraid to talk about it because she was always beat up, harassed, verbally abused from that previous. It had nothing to do with the way we were interacting at that
When
point in
we were
time.
acting, yeah.
It's the baggage from that past that made her want to do that. So her expectations were that once she got emotional in front of me, I was going to attack her. I was going to say something to her. And then that went away. So now we know it's not a problem. I'm not going to have that response. And if you have something you want to cry about, come cry on my shoulders. Because again, my philosophy is all emotions are good emotions.
Good. Yes.
All emotions are good emotions because it tells you that you have a need that needs to be fulfilled. You have a want or desire that needs to be fulfilled or identified and resolved. So use that feeling to identify what it is that we need to fix. I'm a big hand talker. It seems like I keep seeing my hands flying all over the place. But when you have that emotion, and the stronger the emotion, the more you need to focus on that and resolve that particular problem. And if you have problems resolving it, give us a call.
Yeah. And not only the emotion and is finding where it is in your body. Where is this emotion coming in your body? Where is it? And where is it coming from? And just what Charles said, all emotions are good emotions. Fear is fine. Fear is good. You need to find where that fear is coming from. Did something happen to you in the past or something about your future or whatever? Where's that fear? Tears are great. Crying is okay. Crying is healing. It is not being weak. It's not being any of those things. Being able to cry and show emotions is actually super strong. So cry, let it out. And there's still times where I still feel myself holding it back in, even when he's like, baby, just let it out. Have that good, ugly cry. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. But I know that I will do it and I'll feel better. But you can't be afraid of your emotions because they are attached to something that is triggering you. They are attached to something that you need to dive deeper in and figure out where it is and where it comes from. And that's where we can help you.
And that's a very good point. That is something that you need to identify, because we all have those times where we want to suppress those emotions and suppress that feeling. And that just pushes it away back into the past. And the next time that situation comes up again, that's going to flare up even more. And every time it comes back, it's going to flare up even more. And so suppressing it, ignoring
it does not make it better.
Doesn't help. Now, it helps some people because the trauma is too big for them. They don't want to go back and relive that. But the reality of that is, if you can relive it one time and get rid of it, it's better than always having it there.
You'll be able to heal from it. You'll be able to heal from it. And that's the biggest thing is the more you talk about what's happened to you, even if it's out loud or writing it down in a journal out loud to yourself or to somebody that you know you can talk to in confidence, the more that you share your story of what happened, because you're not the only one that's happened to. That's the biggest thing. You are not the only person that this has happened to. So the more that you can share, the more that you can heal. The more that you hold it in, the bigger the wound gets.
And to wrap this up a little bit.
Yes,
when you hold all that in, it's building that residue. That residue is just kind of collecting up there, that big old pile of shit. The big old pile of shit, that residue is building, which is only collecting in a format that we call resentment. You're going to get angry. You're going to get mad. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to have fear. You're going to be disgusted and disappointed with whatever it is that's causing that resentment. And so that is how that resentment gets built up. And so all that baggage comes back up, and you won't be able to function like you used to. You won't be able to do the same activities you used to do. You won't be able to, like, think of it as PTSD pretty much. You'll have PTSD on all these different things that has happened to you in the past. So if someone ever does it to you again, you're going to fly off the handle. You're going to get emotional. You're going to get mad. That whatever that feeling that has built up, you're going to freeze. You're going to run away. You're going to do all these different things. So that resentment builds up. So the way we deal with that is change your expectations. Change your expectations and change your responses to different things. So if you have a different response, a different way of distracting yourself from whatever it is that's making you feel that situation, then you're going to have a much better outcome. You'll be able to have that conversation. If you feel that negative feeling coming up, that trigger, that PTSD coming up again, think of a different way to handle that situation, like lowering your voice. Ask for more details to get a better understanding. A technique I always used to use when I was working in customer service and sales was the feel, felt, found. I don't know what you're feeling right now. I'm sure I probably felt something like that before, but I found in that situation that discussing it helps me. So if you want to open up and tell me about it, I would be able to help you resolve the situation. Let's work together as a partner, as a team, to identify what the problem is so we can resolve it. And that feel, felt, found situation for me has helped me resolve a lot of different things. If she's feeling some kind of way and I don't know why, I want to find out what the source of it is and help us get past it. It doesn't have to be today. It could be tomorrow or the next day. I don't set a date, a deadline. I don't set a time. I don't pressure her to tell me. Tell me when you're ready. I'm all ears. If I need to write down some notes so to remind you later, or if you want to remind me later, that's fine. But let's resolve these situations and problems so that people can move forward and grow together instead of apart.
I'm texting, or I'm not texting, but I'm answering
Got
questions.
some more messages?
Yeah, I'm answering questions.
Yes. So Rhonda put on there about anger.
Yes.
And anger is a couple of questions that come up here quite often. Let's see. Yes. So to answer that question, is anger a good emotion? Yes. Anger is a good emotion. Anger is an emotion that is telling you need to know something. Why are you angry? You have to find out why you're angry. What is it that made you angry? So first you identified the feeling, it's anger. Now identify why you're angry. Why is it that you're angry? What just happened to make you angry? And does that anger come from something that just happened just now? Is that a new feeling? Like, oh my God, this is the first time I've ever felt this way. I'm angry about this and I need to know why.
Why?
Or it's about something that has happened to me in my past. It's always keeps happening to me. And now every time it happens to me, I'm angry. I'm more and more angry every time it happens to me. And I'm getting mad every time it happens to me again. Find out what it is that's triggering you to feel angry. So that is a great emotion because it's a very strong and powerful emotion. Then identify also to yourself, am I angry because he's done something to make me feel stupid? Did he call me stupid? Did she call me stupid? Am I angry because he hit me in my gut where it really hurts me deep down inside? Or did he really say to me that he didn't love me? And this is something that really has taken me back to where everybody just leaves me, disappoints me, or hurts me and say that I'm not enough. And that bottom line feeling right in there in that chest part versus here and here will help you identify what to do and how to resolve it. And the techniques that we use are simple. Now, your anger and your fear and your whatever comes up. I'll use an example at work. Let's talk about work right now. So we talk about relationships, we talk about friends, let's talk about work. A coworker has done something to make you really mad and really angry at work. And every time they do it, they make you mad, they make you angry. You identify the feeling that you're angry. Now identify why you're angry. Is it because you told them you don't like it? Because you told them they shouldn't do it? And they continue to do it? Or is it just because they just don't know that you don't like it? Or is it just they don't feel the same way? What is it that made you angry? And is that anger coming from a just location? If they didn't know that hurts your feelings and make you angry, talk to them about it, discuss it, dissolve it away. If they know they intentionally do it, now you have to act upon it. Now you need to report it, talk to it, do something else about it. If someone is intentionally doing something to hurt and harm you, there's other ways to resolve that. Maybe that's the person you need to take yourself away from and move away from. So anger is one of those things that you can deal with. Oops, there was something there that was really good.
Well, and I wanted to say something before. Shalonda just made a comment. I want to talk about that. But before, oh God, we move on that. So you talked about feeling the anger in ourselves. Let's talk about the anger in someone else. Because there's a fine line in anger, in somebody having some anger. And one of the things Rhonda mentioned was she finds anger in other people is because they're in control. If you find yourself in a relationship, whether it can be a friendship or it can be a significant other relationship, whatever. If you find yourself in a position to where this person needs control, and the more that they're losing control, they're getting angry, or they're verbally, physically, whatever, abusive in anger, then that's something you need to be out of. There's no reason that's good to stay in something like that. So I just want to make a point to that. If the anger is someone is deflecting anger to you on something that they think you've done that you didn't do, but if it's abusive in any way, shape, or form, that person is not your person. That is an unhealthy response, and you need to get out. So I just wanted to say that real fast. But
let's take it a little bit farther with that too, babe,
okay.
because that's a very good topic, and that's what we're here for, to
Yes.
speak up and empower people. And I want to empower anyone who is in a situation where they have been someone else taking anger out on you. If someone else is angry and they're showing you the verbal part of it, and they're talking to you verbally, and they haven't put their hands on you, but they keep getting closer and closer to that action, beware, because it may be coming. Find ways to help de-escalate them, but also find out what their source is. Find out why they're angry. Because there's a lot of things from people's past, a male or female, the way they were brought up, that they think that that's how you communicate, is yelling and screaming, because that's how their parents did. That's how their parents treated them. That's how their parents treated each other. That's how their grandparents got along. So that's the only way they know how to communicate. Find out if that's their source of communication. If that's how they show their love and affection. And if they get violent and put their hands on you, find out if they've been that way all their life, or if there's something from the previous relationship where they just kind of fight back now instantly when they get to that point where they're angry. Again, that anger that you're hearing from them has a source. It could come from something in their mind. It could come from something that they had that has hurt them in their past. And every time you do something that triggers that, they're off the handle. But now you become the detective, silent detective.
But you still have to be able to communicate. Yeah, obviously protect yourself, but you have to be able to communicate to find out what that is, as long as it is not something that is harmful to you.
So again, our techniques work with them and help them, because now they're the ones that need help to de-escalate themselves. They need to find a better way to express themselves, because that anger needs to be dissolved away. That feeling, that bad feeling that they have, that they want to yell and scream and fight about, that's just really much that frustration building up. It's on a whole new continuum of emotions, but it's on that emotional chart that we just talked about. So they can get rid of that anger, they can get rid of that fear and dissolve it away. A lot of times it is from their past. Somewhere in their past, that resentment from something else has built up. They may feel that you don't ever listen to them, and when I try to tell you something, you don't hear me, and now I got to yell to make you understand. And all you really have to do is say, yes, I understand what you're saying. I think I can handle that for this point in time. Again, lower your voice. Let them know that I hear you and I want to work with this and fix this problem, but you don't have to yell at me to do it. I just want you to calm down a little bit for a minute so we can talk about this and move forward, because I can't resolve it right now when you've got me backed up into a corner. Let's talk about this. Let's write down some stuff. Let's sit down and go over some things and find a solution to this problem.
Yes.
And so again, as you hear me talking, it's just a natural technique. I take a deep breath in, I lower my voice, I calm myself.
Breath in.
Every time I take a deep breath, you have to, right? I take a deep breath in, I calm myself, I lower my voice, let them know that I feel their anger, I feel their pain. I want to understand. I know I've been angry before, and I may have done something, and I need to know what I've done to make you feel this way. Or if someone else has done something in your past to make you feel this way, I want to understand how this now triggers you, because I don't want this trigger to come back up again. I want to live a happy, peaceful life. I want every day to be like paradise.
Yes. All right. We probably should wrap this up. We've been talking for almost an hour now. One of the things, so a couple things. If you're watching this on replay, please let us know, #replay, write replay, whatever. If you have some comments that you didn't say here that you want to talk to us about, message us, either one of us, message us, or leave a comment here and say, I want you to talk about this next time, or can you talk about this, or can you help me with this? And one of the other things is Charles and I have done some couples advising. I'm going to use that word, couples coaching. and where you can come and sit down with us. And it's not a he said, she said. It's not a his fault, her fault. Nobody's keeping score. It's a sit down and have a conversation. Nobody's yelling. We're all talking in a good tone and trying to figure out what is triggering the other person, how to talk to each other, and how to figure things out. And instead of just throw it away, how can you figure things out? How can you work better together? And we've been doing that for a while now, and it's been very, very positive. So I just wanted to plug that in. Babe, do you have anything to say?
We do a lot of couples life coaching, and just basically being that open ear to have someone else hear your story, listen to your story, assist you with techniques to help you improve your situation in your life story. So the life coaching part of it has been a therapeutic thing for us, as well as for everybody else we've worked with. We've always heard a lot of positive feedback, and if you've been one of our clients, you've heard some good things from us today, or if you heard some good things from before, put that in the comments. Let everybody else know. My phone is about to go dead. So, so we've done a lot of that over the last year and a half. And I can't even count how many clients we've helped and how many people we've worked with in different therapeutical situations. So, and that's what we're about. We're not really about just to do this to benefit ourselves. We have to help everybody live a better life and have a happier life. We want everybody to have that love in their life that they can share for themselves and anyone else. And that's why we put it in there as love is. I truly believe that philosophy, if we can love every person that you touch and talk to, and they can spread that love to someone else, and it's going to help make us a better world and make this a better world. So we want to reach out and touch each one of you.
Doing it in love. You're not doing it
out of a loving consideration for the person that you are now, the person that you're going to grow to be, and kind of do it like the ripple effect, like we've done with Cammie's speeches before. When she spoke at other different events, it helped other people get past their situations, and that ripple effect helped them help someone else. And as we keep helping each other, everybody around us gets better, and it makes the world a better place. So,
your story.
In.
All right.
Love you all, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks.
See you next time.
No, talk to you soon.
Oh, it'll be what, 2 weeks?
Yes, 2 weeks. So every other Monday. So not next Monday, but the Monday after that. And I have no idea what day it is. February something.
It'll be 2 weeks at 7 o'clock. See you guys
2 weeks
then.
at 7 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.